Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
Alright, so my movie that was chosen for me was Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. It came out May 18th, 1999. It had a budget of $2 million with a box office of 9.4. It was directed and written by Jim Jarmusch, Jarmusch.
Sounds accurate.
Who's made 30 movies. None I know.
That's not surprising.
The soundtrack was done solely by RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
I believe he's defunct from there now, right? Are they still?
I don't know. That's what people are going to know him from. So I took actual notes, unlike
It's all here.
my crew.
I stored everything here.
So
Why does Clear's notepad look like it's the theory? We're back to that conspiracy episode.
you know why?
Make
Because
sure you don't need a whiteboard.
He's trying to make things work.
I would write something down, and it would make me think of something, and I'd arrow it over. So, first of all, slowest start to a movie on the planet.
It is.
Super slow.
Sorry.
Forever.
It's just a slow toned movie.
So, the idea of the movie is the whole movie. So, it takes so long to ghost dog. It never ghost dogs. It is about Forrest Whitaker, who is a hitman, but practices in the way of the samurai. Kinda? Because sometimes he doesn't.
No, always, man.
No, and we'll get to that. So, we open up on him stealing a car with this magic black box. He steals three cars. There's 3 Grand Theft Autos in this movie. 2 of them are by this mystery box, where he presses a button and it unlocks the car. He gets in it and then he presses the button and it starts the car.
That's why you don't ever have keyless entry, man.
Was it like that in 1999? Was it push start and whatnot?
It was a symbol because it was a radio frequency as opposed to what it is now. Like, I think it's different chips that they use, but yeah, no, it was
because it also opened a gate to a house later, and
I don't know about that.
It's just a magic box.
Maybe at that point we
never get into it, by the way, so let that simmer. And he steals the car,
black mark,
and then we cut over. We cut over to like this Italian family.
Yeah.
Italian mobster gang stuff. And they're talking about putting a hit on one of their own guys. So, Ghost Dog kills that man, who's sitting on his bed in underwear watching cartoons while a girl sits on the couch. I don't know if the girl's related to him. I know nothing about this girl.
She's the daughter of
She's the daughter of one of the mobsters. But is she 16 or is she 24?
She's an adult.
Because
it's consensual.
Because I don't know why they put the hit on the man. They never discussed that.
They do, and I don't remember. It was something to do with him. He was skimming money off the top.
Okay, so not
she
because he was sleeping with her.
No, she wasn't supposed to be.
Were they sleeping together?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
they didn't know about her, and I think that she
was supposed to be on a bus somewhere.
Yes,
and she wasn't. So this man's watching cartoons. All the old Italian mobsters watch cartoons, by the way. Weird. Also, The Simpsons exist in this universe. Because Itchy and Scratchy's on the cartoons.
What universe do they not exist in?
I don't know.
Now they're in the Disney
Spider-Verse?
universe. The transitive property kind of in there?
Spider-Verse?
Yeah, so by transitive property, they're kind of, because Sony, well, not anymore.
Right.
So,
comes in, the guy's like, what do you want, my watch? Boom, shoots him in the head. Or 2 in the stomach, 1 in the head. Thorough. And then he's like, okay. So, so then he's like, oh, and he sees the girl, right? And the girl's like, what are you going to do? And she has a book, and she's like, that's my book. And he takes it, because he likes books. So, he takes the book, right? And then, doesn't kill the girl, lets her go. Because not his job. His job's not to kill the girl away the samurai. I killed the guy that I was supposed to kill. I'm done. There's a lot he communicates by messenger pigeon, and there's a lot of pigeon shots, like tons. At one
Pigeon budget's on point.
At one point, he trains them to deliver messages. Is just how he communicates. There's one scene where he opens the door and lets the pigeons out, and then like flags them. So he goes like this, and they all cut this way. Then he goes like that, and they all cut that way. And then they just come home. We never see that part. I imagine it takes forever to bring in pigeons.
But they had to make sure you know that he can do that.
Right.
He's training them, and he uses carrier pigeons because that's how they used to communicate in feudal Japan.
So I watched this movie in two versions. I watched it taking it like it was going for the Oscars, and then I watched it like I'm gonna make fun of a movie that came out in 1999.
Which time did you enjoy it more?
A bit of both. There was some great parts in each like chapter, I guess we would call it. There's a samurai quote that is voiced by Forrest Whitaker from a book called the
Hagakure.
Yeah, by Yamamoto, Tsunetom squiggle, because I can't read my
Michael,
handwriting.
put it on the screen right here.
Yeah,
You'll
I've bought like 7 copies of that book, and every time the reason I buy so many is because anytime I've made someone watch this movie, I usually like, okay, here's the book. Bye.
Right. So, where it's a real book that was kind of just about the samurai's life. There's a scene where they're trying to get this kid out of a house. There's a bunch of unnecessary scenes. Tons of scenes that are unnecessary. So they're trying to get this kid out of a house, and the kid's like on the second or third floor, and he's throwing toys. And like, I'm gonna get your kid, and then the mobster guy's like, hey, you're late, and then they go. Never see this kid again. There's also a scene where the ghost dog is walking, and there's several black people in this, all typical gangsters. One group was in red, and they were like, ghost dog. And then he's walking, and he sees this guy walking with a bunch of groceries. He's walking to his car, and then he sees this black guy get behind him, like he's gonna mug him. And he pauses, and I'm like, oh, okay, like samurai, step up, defend people who can't defend themselves. And this guy begins to turn around and wheelhouse kick this guy in the head. Puts his groceries down, smooth kicks the guy in the head. Right? And the guy's like, holy crap, and takes off running. The guy gets his bags, puts them in the car. Ghost dog did nothing. One of the most unnecessary scenes. I don't know what it was supposed to show me.
It was no, but that was what it was. It was supposed to show you that he was going to stand up for him if he needed, and then like
let me see him stand up. Like,
and then
that would have been
the people don't need me, and he whooped his ass. Yeah,
it was so weird.
The gangster one was supposed to be because he's a neutral force, but everybody respects him. Like nobody ever like expects him to claim a particular like sect, but he's like known as like everybody knows he's got some kind of street cred.
Yeah. Also, okay, and
but anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So then they meet the guy who the ghost dog answers to. His name's Louis. We find out later that Louis saved his life one time. Two different point of views, by the way. But either way, Louis ended up saving his life, and he goes to talk to the 3 main mobsters. There's the most stereotypical Italian mobster that you can think of. Big shades, red suit. Then in the middle there's this businessman mobster who's real, well-spoken. And then there's this old racist man. And he talks super loud. Like, yells the N-word. And it's like, think about an old person in an old folks home. It's like, I remember that, and then so the guys are like, hey, we need to kill the guy who killed one of our guys, even though they're the guys that put the hit out on him. Okay, progressive story, I can let it go. And it's funny watching this man describe to these 3 scary mobsters about Ghost Dog. Because he's like, okay, how do you pay him? He goes, I pay him once a year, the first day of autumn. I pay him for what he did the previous year. And they go, the talkie mobster, the typical one, he's like, okay, let's look past this first day of autumn thing. And he was like, how do you talk to him? How do you get in contact? And he goes, there's a messenger pigeon that comes to my house every day. And they all go. And then that's when the old man's like, carrier pigeons! I remember them. They used to have them all the time. And so they're like, okay, what's he look like? And he's like, he's a big black guy. And they're like, okay, what's his name? He's like, Ghost Dog. And they're like, so you don't know anything about this guy. And they're like, Ghost Dog. And the stereotypical Italian one's like, he was like, oh yeah, like the rappers. You know, the rappers come up with the names. We got Snoop Doggy Dogg, and we've got Ice Cube, my personal favorite's Flavor Flav. And then does a Flavor Flav verse. Like, at the table in this scene. Right? So they're like, hey, we gotta kill this guy. We gotta kill him. He's gotta die.
The whole scene gold.
I hope that I did it justice.
Oh, absolutely. That's word for word. That's everything that happened.
So then, training montage. Ghost Dog's on the roof with a samurai sword. Never uses a sword the whole movie.
I kind of wish that about that.
I would have. It would have made sense to me. He could have also carried the gun. I'm more than okay with making it modern, but he should have also had a sword.
Did you recognize or understand his whipping of his gun?
I'm getting into that, man. That's in my notes.
What's the point of training with a sword if you don't use a sword?
Right.
It's the way of the samurai stuff, and he shut up.
So okay, so I'll get to it now. What Michael was talking about was he told us in the intro. He mentioned it that Forrest Whitaker whips the sword around like a gun. I mean, whips the gun around like a sword. So what I thought he meant was, and with the training montage, that he would like shoot, like a sword. That would have made so much sense to me. Here's what he does.
That would have been way better.
Here's what he does. He uses his gun, as guns are used. Bang, 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 bang. Nothing wrong with that. And then, in an old feudal Japanese samurai movie, he takes the gun and goes, like he's putting away his sword. What? What?
Your movie sounds funnier than my movie.
It's good. It's good.
But what's funny is I'm watching it and I'm trying to take it
So
seriously.
serious. But even Forrest Whitaker's so serious when he does, he's like,
Everyone, this is not a comedy. This
No,
is
not
not a
one
comedy.
bit.
Everyone takes this to the fullest extent of a serious movie can be. So then he's sitting at a park, and he's watching these group of Crips. I'm assuming because they're in blue now, the black people, and they're rapping, and he's just watching them rap. Again, this movie is 116 minutes runtime. I can knock it down to about 30 minutes. Because they're rapping, and I think I heard them say the name Ghost Dog. I don't know because the DVD that I got doesn't allow subtitles.
bro, like, you know how hard it is to get a copy of this movie?
I'm just saying. So I'm saying so. I wasn't sure because I wanted to like make sure I didn't miss anything.
So they start freestyle rapping, and then they turn and kind of notice him, and then so they start singing about
and then
rapping
they
about
kind of give him the same little respect thing, and then he gets the respect thing back. And so this little girl with her lunchbox, and I could not tell who was on the lunchbox. Could you? I'm sure you haven't seen it in forever.
I was saying,
But there's this little girl with her little lunchbox, and she's like, I've heard about you. Your name's Ghost Dog. You live on the roof with those pigeons, right? My mom said that you don't have no friends, and you don't talk to nobody. So explain to me why this little girl knows where to find this man, and the entire
she lives in the
mobster
neighborhood.
mafia has no idea how to reach him.
Well, A, it's supposed to be that the mob is out of touch with the city. Like,
Okay.
I mean, it's a different city, but B, they live in like the same neighborhood.
Okay. Because it was
Like, he's kind of like he's almost like an urban legend to them. Like, they all know his name, but they don't like.
it was just funny that like the previous scene was, we need to find this guy, and this little girl's like, you live on that building? Next scene. So they have a cute interaction, and it's the little girl from the Bernie Mac show, the oldest daughter. I don't know who that helps and who doesn't, but I've not seen her in anything before that nor after that really. Her name was Pearline, Pear line, Pearline, and her played by Camille Winbush. That's how good my notes are. So they talk about movies, and her lunchbox. So Ghost Dog carries a briefcase all the time. I'm assuming it's his kill stuff, and
Things to kill.
Does he ever open it?
yes,
Okay.
there's kill stuff in there, but he just always carries it all the time, no matter what. Always prepared, cool, samurai. She has a little lunchbox, and in her lunchbox is books. So she pulls out Frankenstein and Night Nurse. That she never actually read. She just likes the cover of it. I'm assuming it's a dirty book.
It's a like a romantic novel. I mean, it's trashy, but it's not like.
Yeah. So she's just got all these books, and he's like, "Why don't you look up this book?" And it's the book that he stole from the white girl that he didn't murder. He's like, "Review it. Tell me what you think." And she was like, "I heard you don't have any friends." And he's like, "I have a friend. It's the ice cream man." And she was like, "Come meet him with me." And she was like, "You think I'm a fool? I know." I'm paraphrasing slightly. You must think I'm a fool. I'm about to go over there. I don't even know you. I appreciate that. Stranger danger. So we go over there and we meet the ice cream man, which might be the best character of the movie.
100%.
So here's the thing. It's his best friend, right? Only speaks French. There's subtitles for him. Does not speak English. Ghost Dog speaks no French. So another 15 minutes that I can cut out of the movie is making them understand each other. Because I understand, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a comical side of this, but...
or that friendship can span over not understanding each
yeah,
other.
so he'll say a sentence, and then Ghost Dog will say the same sentence. So, rough example, the ice cream man is like, "Oh, hey, you probably need to go because the sun's going down." And then Ghost Dog then goes, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and go because the sun's going down." And like it's funny because there's so many scenes with them two, which are great because, like he was saying, they just get each other. Like they're saying the same things without saying the same things, but it just adds runtime. Like because they're repeating each other. Like subtitle, Ghost Dog says it. Ghost Dog says it. Subtitle, the whole movie. But it was interesting because nobody understands this Frenchman. I don't know how he's making money. Selling his ice cream. And it's funny, he's like on a microphone. He's like, "Oh, they tell me that ice cream's so healthy for you. It's got a load of calcium." And then towards the end of the movie, he's like, "Hey man, did you know that it's not that healthy for you?" He's like, "Not even that much calcium." But again, he didn't even know what he's saying. But so on the ice cream truck, one of the comical parts I noticed on the ice cream truck, there's a chessboard, and they'll play chess back and forth. Again, one of those things that just carries on, and I've always loved that about chess. However, it's always on the side of this truck, no matter where it is. Is it magnified? Or does he setting it back up every day?
I like to think that he just is always there.
I don't know. There's one scene where it moves. Okay, so so they meet each other. This is my friend. Tell me what you think about the book. Bye. The Italian mobsters then go on this pigeon manhunt, where they're shooting anyone that is tanned that has pigeons. You're dead. So there's this Native American guy who makes it, but this guy shoots a pigeon and he's like, "Bye." Another black guy was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Boom, dead. Why? I don't know. So they're like, anybody who might be this guy, we're killing him. It's a lot of death. The transitions in this movie are
90s transitions.
90s transitions. There's a lot of up close Forrest Whitaker sitting in the background, like transparency to each other. Couple of Fades of Black. A lot of pigeons in the city. Pigeons in Forrest Whitaker. Just all of them. Think about all the 90s transitions. All of them are in here.
The guy was so sad about his dead pigeon.
He was.
One dead pigeon?
Well, they killed all his pigeons, but...
Oh.
I'm kidding, man. So you're spoiling my review. So then, Ghost Dog meets up with Louis, and Louis is like, "Hey, they're trying to kill you," and he's like, "Okay, I'm your retainer. I protect you. I answer you. I don't care." So
The samurai word.
yeah, so Louis is like, "They're coming to kill you. I'm just telling you, as a respect thing, they're coming to kill you. You've always shown me respect. I want you to know they're coming. I'm probably next after they kill you. You know, there's nothing I can do." As they're in this meeting, I don't know who was meeting who where, because 3 people show up, and I feel like one of them was an odd man out. But this guy pulls up, and he's like, "Hey, Louis, I've been meaning to talk to you." And Ghost Dog, boom, 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 takes him out. And Louis is like, "Crap, you killed somebody who's important. It's like the brother-in-law to somebody. What am I going to do?" He was like, "You might as well kill me now." He's like, "Shoot me." He's like, "I'm not going to shoot you. I'm your retainer, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "I'm telling you, shoot me." He shoots him in the shoulder. And he's like, "What did you do that for?" And he's like, "You said to do it." So then he's like, "You can tell them that it was a shootout, whatever." So, let's see. So, I can't read my own writing sometimes, but it sucks. So then from there, we go to, I'm just going to jump to the pigeon slaughter. Ghost Dog comes home, massacre. First of all, also, in the beginning of the movie, when we see Ghost Dog and where he lives, pigeon shit everywhere. like at one point it looks like paint. And I was like, gross. But he comes home, all the pigeons massacred. All of them. Dead. Every one of them. He's upset. He starts getting to work, starts getting all his stuff. There is a cool, like, floor, like, safe. He takes off a square piece to this tile, not tile, but like a wooden panel floor. And there's a key. He slides one over, slides one down. There's the lock, opens it up. But I feel like you could just rip that place apart and get to that.
Eventually.
And then he's like, "I'm gonna avenge my pigeons," basically. Like, not only that, because obviously his life's on the line, but that really what sets him off is
the pigeons!
The pigeon slaughter.
Pigeons put him over the edge.
So, and here's the part of that question about the way of the samurai. So, there's a scene where he stole somebody's suit off of them, and the woman's dress. I don't know why we stole the woman's dress, because we never ended up using that. But he puts on the suit. He steals a license plate off of somebody with his little Well, he takes the license plate off, but he steals the car with his little magic box. And then he's getting ready to snipe one of the main mobster people, right? He's lined up, he sees him, and the mobster guy's like, something, you can't hear him, but he goes like this. And he gets ready to shoot him, and a bird gets in the way. And he's like, this weird, like, "Oh, look at this bird, and it's so sweet." And he smiles, and then he looks, and the pigeon's gone. And then the guy's gone, and he's like, "Sometimes as a samurai, you have to face things heads on." And I'm like, "You're just about to snipe him. If it wasn't for this bird, you would have shot him dead where he stood. But now you're gonna go the way of the samurai route." It was odd to me.
I think more. So the line. I don't know if you want me to address it right now, or you want to wait.
Which line?
So the line you're talking about. So what he's talking about is, there's a specific quote in the book, I believe, that is essentially that if you tackle all things with 100% resolve, and you tackle the solution head on, sometimes it's best to tackle it head on. I think it was actually more talking about how he got distracted, and that was kind of him being pulled away from his result. Like he didn't go into it 100% heart because he got distracted, and that's why he wasn't able to obtain his goal.
So like I said, in each chapter there's a quote from the book in there, and sometimes it was hard for me to tell, did it close a scene or did it open the new scene?
And some of it I think is, it's interesting. So like the entire book, by the way, is quotes. Mm-hmm. So what the book is this weird ramblings that it's been translated by 7 or 8 different people, mm-hmm. but it's basically this book, a journal that was translated from the last known person that was not a samurai to just walk around with samurai. And all he did was walked around and wrote down everything he saw. He'd sit there, and if people were talking, he'd write about it. And reading the book, there are some parts that you'll be like, why am I reading about this? And it's just about 2 shoguns randomly meeting each other and talking. But throughout the entire time, it's just random quotes all the time, or people talking about stuff. And so the particular person, Yamamoto, that transcribed this one is like the most well-renowned. Like this is the transcript that makes the most sense. So if you ever see, there's multiple versions or different books that are called the Book of the Samurai or the Way of the Samurai, but may have different titles other than Hayakuri. That are just different translations. But yeah, it's weird because there's lots of, like the rain one, which is one of my favorite quotes, is essentially if you were to run in the rain, you would get the same amount of wet as if you were to walk in it. So walk, basically saying, why panic and run? Take your time while walking towards your goal, stuff like that.
Yeah, all the quotes were really good. It just there was until I got to the end, I was like, oh, okay, it was supposed to be speaking about
what had
that
happened.
moment or which direction it was. It's like, okay, am I supposed to take the quote and then think about it in the scene, or am I supposed to watch the scene and then let the quote make me kind of wash over me? So then he goes in this mansion, kills everybody except the girl again. He lets the girl live again, and then the old racist man. And the only reason he killed the old racist man is because the old racist man stands up and goes N-word, and then has a heart attack. The business mobster guy is like, I've been expecting you. Buttons his shirt, pew pew pew, dead. Pew pew pew, because it's all silencers. Only works in silencers apparently. And then he's like, puts his gun up. So then he's driving home, I assume, and he finds these two white men that killed a bear. And he's like, hey, I didn't know that you could hunt bear. And they're like, oh, there's so little of these. When you see them, you got to take them out. And he's like, well, you're only hunting them because they're rare. It doesn't make sense. And they're like, oh, there's not a bunch of black people here either. And he pulls out a gun and he's like, okay, I'll go pew pew pew. Everybody's dead.
He has an attachment to bears.
Useful scene, and then not useful scene.
It has to do with his attachment. The scene's useless, but his attachment to bears is because the guy gives him the French book about bears and says, you're a bear.
Yeah, but he doesn't know he said that.
Yeah, no,
but yeah, the ice cream man, he tells the little girl, he reminds me of a bear. His characteristics, by himself, not really aggressive in nature, but if their backs against the wall, if they have to, they'll do what they got to do. There's also a scene where Louis is driving, his main guy, and his good friend, and the girl's in the back seat. He's been shot. He's about to die. They're trying to hurt him and get to the hospital. They get pulled over by a cop. He kills the cop. He starts driving off, and the guy dies anyway. Let's cut that whole scene.
This girl needs some new friends.
You've made this like a 10-minute movie.
It's not my fault. They made it I guess they made it a long movie. Ghost Dog then steals a convertible Jaguar that's red. But this woman deserved it because not only are you driving a red convertible in a bad neighborhood, she left it on with the top down and went to the store.
Yeah,
it's kind of on you.
It's getting stolen.
So
I'd steal it. I don't even steal cars.
So then we've knocked out old mobster. We knocked out business mobster. Now we have stereotypical mobster left. So he drives to their house, and he's looking at the window, and one of the mobsters, who's like his bodyguard or whatever, is watching cartoons because they all watch cartoons for whatever reason. And they're like old Felix the Cat cartoons, except for the girl she likes, The Simpsons. Two cool death scenes. I think probably the two best ones is he puts a piece of tape on the window, cuts the cord for the cable, so the guy has to get up, shoots at the glass so that his silencer breaks the glass, but the tape keeps the whole window intact, and then kills the guy. So that was cool. And then he goes into the garage and starts unscrewing this pipe, and then you see classic mobster up top doing more Public Enemy rap with Flavor Flav, powdering his button balls. He's like, I don't know any Flavor Flav lyrics, but he's like, powder, that's powder, button. And he's like having a good time. He's dancing back and forth. He goes to brush his teeth and turns on the water, which is impressive because a lot of the times I will start to brush and then turn on the water. So it's impressive that he turned on the water first, but it's probably the time frame where we weren't really worried about water like we are now. He's like, the water's not working. And he looks, and there's this little red light. So Ghost Dog has figured out this pipe that goes straight down. And he points his laser gun in there. I don't know how he knows when to shoot, but the guy looks at it and goes, pew! Dead. We've handled these people immensely easy.
How did Ghost Gun turn on the water? And look down.
He just knows. Don't ever question.
Where are the samurai, Stephanie? I don't know. So
Pigeon stole.
then he leaves and meets RZA, the guy who is making all the music, and they have word exchange. I don't remember exactly what they said. They kind of bow at each other, random.
Well, because RZA's super like into Japanese culture, and
In fact, his name in the movie is Samurai in Camouflage.
yeah.
It's just unnecessary. Anyway, so he goes to beat the.
You probably asked for it, and like.
Oh,
yeah,
I mean,
do
yeah,
whatever
I
you
did
want,
the
man.
whole thing. Yeah, let me be, but be like in it. They made that scene for him. Like they probably had to call Forrest Whitaker down, and from wherever he was living, and it's like, hey, we need you to get back in Ghost Dog mode. I need you to do this one shot.
Yeah, it was probably literally just to pay respects to him.
Yeah. So they go to the ice cream man, and he's like, oh, it's okay, blah blah. Ice cream man has a gun, and he's like, oh, it's for my protection. And Ghost Dog's like, you don't need that, even though they can't understand each other. Ghost Dog takes the gun, unloads it, puts the gun in there, in his briefcase, closes it, locks it, puts the suitcase inside, and then gives the ice cream man the key. You just go get the gun. Anyway.
What?
Yeah, I know. So
What's the whole point of all of that if you're just going to give him the key?
So Ghost Dog also unloads his gun. This is important. So then girl comes back, returns the book. That was really good. It was a cute interaction between them because he was like, read this book, tell me what you think, and she's reviewing it with him. And they look out in the street, and Louis is there, and he's got the worst stance. It's like full as legs spread as you can be, like standing with his sling because he got shot, and it was just a weird stance. That's my notes. Weird stance. So he's like, I got to deal with this. You guys stay over there. So he walks out in the middle of the street, and he's like, oh, this is a standoff. Is this what we're doing? And he's like, you know, it's better you than me. I don't need to be dealing with this. So he goes and he shoots him, right? And everybody's like, oh my God, no. There's these two guys that are sitting there on the curb doing something. They hear the gunshot. They take off. They run immediately. For some reason, the ice cream man doesn't feel like the girl's life is important, and they stay there and watch. So Ghost Dog just keeps walking. Shoots him again, keeps walking. And then he eventually falls to the ground, like, at his feet. And he's like, just do me a favor. And Louis is like, okay, what do you want? And he's like, give this book back to the girl who it belongs to. I'm not sure why it was so important for him to return the book.
He doesn't steal things.
He loaned it.
Yeah, he returns them.
Okay. So, he's laying there.
I think actually in the scene when he takes it originally, she tells him to take it.
She does, yeah. She tells him he can go. I mean, but at that point, you offer whatever you can. This guy holding a gun.
Right. You can have my cat. Just don't shoot me.
So
I'm telling your cat.
he gives the book back, and then like his one pigeon that survived that I forgot to talk about flies like at his side. Random, but it
Like
was
a parrot?
it's funny at like. Because it's not like a dog, you know? It's just this messenger pigeon that he loved and he cared for like a pet. But he had so many... They didn't have names. So that was just... It was weird.
Or maybe they did.
Maybe. So then... He dies. Everybody dies funny in this movie. His friend in the car that I said you can cut the whole scene, he's like breathing heavy and then he goes... And then he just dies. Forrest Whitaker just kind of like fades out. Louis goes to run to the car, right, to get out of there, and Forrest Whitaker, Ghost Dog has thrown his gun to the side, but it's empty, and the French guy's yelling, "What are you doing? The gun's empty. He can't even fight you back. What's wrong with you?" But nobody can understand him. So the little girl begins to pick the gun up and like follows the guy and pulls the trigger. but the gun's empty. And I think to myself, we've made a murderer. Because she got to watch this guy who she cared about get gunned down. And she then begins to read the book that he used to read, and it kind of continues the legacy. I would have liked for a follow-up, maybe one day, someday. I don't know. None of those guys are doing anything. And Forrest Whitaker's the most expensive one, and he's gone. I imagine that the people that were in this movie at that time are really old or passed away.
Yeah.
All the mobster people. Because, let me tell you, there's not a young man on this squad. Because they send everybody to the roof, and there's these two old... all of them are old. All of them are old white men. And they are gasping for air by the time they get to the roof. Because nobody has elevators. Everybody's tired. So I'm like, where are your 20-year-olds? You can, like, run up and down the stairs.
Yeah, the important part of that scene, or at least the book, was that he took the book back from the girl and then gave his other book to her. And said, okay, I want you to read this one now. And so I think that was like, the passing of the mantle kind of...
Yeah. And so she, at the end of it, the way the movie ends is you see her kind of reading the book. And her mom, who I believe is Haitian, is like, go read your book in the living room. You're in the way. And she just kind of like is reading it and looks off, and that's kind of how it ends. Rotten Tomato reviews, 82%. Audience was 86%. The girl, Trisha Vesey, she plays Louise Vargo. The only other movie that I could find that I know her from maybe is Mr. Bean in 1997. So it's not Forrest Whitaker and then some people.
Nobody was in it.
It's not a high squad. Even RZA, to me, is not the best Wu-Tang member you could have gotten.
Again, he is the creator of it, I believe. I think he was the founding member.
But he's not the best one you could have grabbed.
No.
Can you name a song?
No.
Yeah. Overall, as a serious movie, it was slow. It was good. It gave you some points, but goodness. The scenes between the action were forever. As a comedy, brilliant. Why do they all watch cartoons?
I don't know, man.
All like 50-year-old men. All right, everybody. But that is our movie review. It ran longer than 10 minutes per person.
We hit a 10-minute limit?
It was supposed to be.
We should have never even gone into like, hey, explain the movie, because that was where it ended.
Oh, well, I mean, but for your movie and my movie, there had to be an explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are odd movies. Spider-Verse is.
Well known except for one person. But now she knows it, so that works. If you have any movies that you would like us to watch or want to talk about the movies that are dear to your heart or the movies that we talked about, make sure to hit us up. It is friendship.supreme@gmail.com. We have all of our social medias. It is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All Friendship Supreme except for Twitter. Twitter has no eyes because all eyes are here unless you listen to the audio.
If you listen to the audio, check out our YouTube.
Yeah.
Because we make funny faces, and you can see what Stephanie looks like.
We always accept any gratifying achievement that you can give us for our Patreon. It is just simply search Friendship Supreme. Just search Friendship Supreme everywhere. We're always there, and we'll be there, and you can see us there. Anything I missed?
We are Legion.
We're everywhere. If there's friendship that is supreme, it's here. I've been Cleve.
I've been Michael, and to give a person an opinion, one must first judge well whether that person is of disposition to receive it or not.